It's the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Support for this podcast comes from Invent Together. I bet you didn't know that inventing activity by Black inventors peaked in 1899, and it has never recovered. Black and Hispanic college graduates patented half the rate of white college graduates. That's just one of the reasons why you need to know about Invent Together. When our patent system gets more diverse, our nation will get stronger and more successful. Find out how you can help diverse inventors and unleash economic opportunity at inventtogether.org.
You're Locked On Wild, your daily podcast on the Minnesota Wild. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to another episode of Locked On Wild, your daily Minnesota Wild podcast. Today's episode is brought to you by Spotify Green Room. You can join me on Spotify Green Room next week to get in on the action. On today's episode of Locked On Wild, we are joined by NHL Twitter superstar Spoked Z to talk some of the crazy happenings from this past week in the NHL. We'll talk about the Pierre Maguire hire by the Senators. We'll also discuss the Zach Parise and Ryan Suter buyouts and the Duncan Keith trade to the Oilers. So plenty to discuss with Spoked Z. Hope your Friday's off to a great start. We've got a good one for you here today, so let's get right to it. Spoked Z joining Locked On Wild. As I mentioned, we are joined today by Spoked Z, and if you are a regular in the NHL Twitter sphere, you are very familiar with his work, and so we are going to talk all things NHL offseason, Stanley Cup celebration, you name it, we'll cover it. Spoke, how are things going?
Just living the dream. You know, happy to be here, talk hockey, and drink some Coors Lights.
Oh, there we go. That's the vibe we like. I am. You're on the Tampa Bay Lightning schedule for celebrating the Cup. We are fully on board for that. And why don't we start right there? Tampa Bay Lightning celebrating their Stanley Cup win like no other with a boat parade, which has just become like the thing to do for Tampa teams that win championships. Oh, but they also did a little damage to the Stanley Cup itself. So let's just, first off, is that the craziest Stanley Cup celebration that you've seen, or has any team in recent memory been able to top what the Lightning are currently doing?
Well, I mean, it seems like every year now, like they're trying to up whoever did it the year before. Now they're just trying to up themselves, which is that's just dangerous. The Capitals really did some damage there too. No one put a dent in the last couple of years. Like they just put a dent in that one. So that's something else. But I think now, like literally everything gets recorded and everything is like tweeted out there. So I think we're seeing a lot more. But I mean, these guys rip it up. Whoever wins the Cup, they rip it up for like 3 straight months, just pure chaos. Oh, and now with the shortened off season, I'm sure Tampa's really, I mean, we've seen a lot of it, but they're going extra hard considering they're not going to have as much time, and they're doing it pretty well.
Yeah, they're
so
trying to make
credit
it work.
To them.
Yeah, for sure. One of my favorite things from Bill Guerin's press conferences over the last couple of days is somebody asked him point blank if his celebrations ever involved the Stanley Cup being dented, and he responded by saying strictly, I can't comment on that. Those stories are going to go with me to the grave. And so I don't know if he did actually have an instance like that, or if he's just kind of living with the moment. But I mean, props to Bill Guerin if he does have some crazy Cup stories that he's not willing to share.
Yeah, so they're never going to tell you. But I can guarantee you that Cup has seen really bad days. Like really bad.
Yeah.
And I know like every team has some story where it's like, oh, we almost lost the Cup, or oh, we kind of like broke it. Like the Islanders when they won all those Cups, I know they did some really bad damage to it. And if you listen to Justin Bourne talk about it, his dad had to like literally fix it. So I don't know if they took it back from him and then like whatever changed the Cup again, but I know he had to put like screws in there and he had to put plates in. Like he actually had to fix the cup, but they gave it back. So those screws might still be in there, but they really did some damage. So, I mean, some of the stuff that cup's been through, it's like, all right, I would go crazy with that thing. I'd be drinking stuff out of it, eating out of it. But why are you doing that in the cup? Like, don't do that.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even know why that's like part of the celebration thing. I think that's why they have the keeper now, the white glove guy.
Yeah. That's the most important job in all of sports, is making sure that the Stanley Cup.
What a life.
Like, the Stanley Cup doesn't have anything too bad happen to it. And so I wonder, like, honestly, I wonder if that guy is slipped any, like, money under the table to where hockey players are like, hey, can you avert your eyes for, like, 20 minutes, or can we just take this for, like, an hour and give it back to you? Not a bad gig to, I'm sure he's been approached by some players who just want to take that thing for a weekend. I don't even know if there's an amount of money that you could slip him, he would be like, yeah, go for it. Like, that's cool. Yeah, definitely just slip me that. I think, like, based on what I know about him and, like, just asking around, like, he's kind of a weird dude. He's a super nice dude, but, like, the thing is his baby, like, and he doesn't mess around with it. So, like, if it gets too crazy, or if someone that didn't win the cup tries to, like, pick it up, he like literally will step in with these guys in the NHL and be like, nope, not happening. Oh man,
sit down.
Wow.
Like, that's mine. So, like, I know he takes it. I mean, he has to take it serious, because I mean, he's even there, and they still, like, cracked it in half and bent the bowl. But, like, he doesn't mess around with that thing. So. Good for him, but what a life, what a league.
Yeah, no kidding. Which Tampa Bay player do you think has had the best time from what we've seen in the
Kucherov?
Yep, thank you. Yeah,
it's incredible.
Man,
I hate the guy. I hate him a lot when I watch him play hockey. But, like, off the ice when he's winning, like, I hate him, and I hate the Lightning, and I don't want them to win, like, another game. Like, I despise them, but, like, I just want Kucherov to win every cup ever.
Yeah. Because
that guy is incredible. Like, I mean, the Zoom, the press, that was my favorite thing ever. He called Marc-Andre Fleury whatever the guy from Vegas. That's what he called him. He pretended that he forgot his name.
Jeez.
And he just went nuts. But I want that dude to win every cup, like, literally ever, as long as he's in the league, and he should be forced to strap on a GoPro so we can watch him in his escapades after he wins the cup.
Just, like, surgically implants a camera and a microphone.
He's Russian, so Putin's probably already got one in there. You know what I mean? Like, he's probably already being tracked.
They'll be, this word will somehow get back to him and be like, yeah, we've already done that. We're way ahead of you guys. Oh,
there's like 7 chips in him now.
Jeez.
You know what I mean?
What?
He's a robot. He's not real. He's not a heel.
No,
not a real human.
He's an android. What a vibe. Tell you what, we have plenty of other things to talk about. I want to get your reaction to the transition from booth to upper management that we had happen with a certain NBC Sports personality. So we'll talk about that. We got plenty of other things to talk about with Spoked Z, and we'll continue the conversation next here on Locked on Wild.
It's time to become a better. BetQL rates every potential bet on a scale of 1 to 5 stars based on real, proven analytics.
Who am I going to trust? I'm going to trust the randos on Twitter versus the app that's telling me, hey, listen, we've run this simulation 9 gazillion times, and it's coming up as 5 stars. You're really going to have a better opportunity to win if you put your money here.
Bet smarter and beat the books with BetQL. Save 20% with promo code PODCAST. That's 20% off with promo code PODCAST at BetQL.com.
This episode is brought to you by the NBA. Witness mind-bending competition on the biggest stage between the best players in the world, a place where legends are made. It's impossible jumps that seem to freeze in midair, and spectacular steals that you didn't see coming. It's that one play that lasts seconds that you will talk about for the rest of your life. And let's face it, it's the unpredictability of it all, never knowing when the next big moment will happen. Huge wins and crushed dreams. It's the drama of it all. You just can't make this stuff up. That's the NBA. That's game. The NBA playoffs are happening right now. Don't miss all the action.
Continuing our chat with Spoked Z of the NHL Twitter landscape. And Spoked, we got to talk about the Pierre Maguire experience. Obviously, NBC Sports no longer going to be a thing, so hockey is moving to ESPN, which means we get an entirely new broadcast crew, and that the former crew has to find other things to do. Sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't, and sometimes you just end up going into the front office of a team. In the case of Pierre Maguire, I'm not going to lie, I was pretty shocked at this news. What was your reaction to Pierre Maguire being the now VP of Player Development for the... it's for Washington, isn't it? It's for the... or no, it's for Ottawa. Thank you. Washington, Ottawa, same thing.
Yeah, same color.
What do you think?
Pierre Maguire? Never heard of him. He's a very non-controversial guy. It was a sneaky hire by those pesky Sens. Never heard of him. We'll have to see how. No, this dude is. When I saw that, I was in tears. I mean, like, in tears because there's so many people who care way too much about anything he does, anything he says, any like picture of him. They're just like, this mother. I caught myself, don't I? There you go. Don't have to edit that one out. But like, I have never hated Pierre. Like, I actually enjoy him because I think he's one of the most entertaining human beings on the face of the earth. Everything he says, I cry. Like, I just start laughing. Like, I just can't take him serious, so I can't get mad at him.
Yeah.
But people are like freaking out over him getting like any job. Like, that dude could have like left, got like a 9 to 5 at like an office, and people have been like, this is unbelievable. I cannot believe they're giving him an opportunity. Like, dude, the guy knows literally everything about every player ever. And so I knew he was going to get a job with a team at some point. I was curious to see what the role would be, because he's interviewed over the past like 5-10 years. He's probably interviewed for like 10 different GM spots. So like, he's been on people's radar, and like a lot of that is like people want to interview him and talk to him, not necessarily because they plan on hiring him, but like just to see what he thinks and like hear another opinion. And the dude's been around hockey forever, and he is obsessed with the game, and he knows a lot about like young kids that haven't been drafted yet. They're coming up, knows a ton about junior hockey, college hockey. So it's not like people are thinking that he's now the GM, and it's like, no, he's VP, which is a very funny title, of player development. So it's basically they hired his brain, not because he's going to be making like some GM decisions. So at the end of the day, like with where Ottawa is, and like they have so many young players, it could be good. Like, it could be a good hire. He's a smart dude. He's weird, and he's very odd.
Yeah.
And like the things he says, you're sitting there like, oh my God. Like, that was incredible. And apparently he just hates analytics, which,
yeah.
If the analytics, I don't know why they care. Like, I just don't know why they get so upset about it. Like, I cannot believe that he is talking about us like this. It's like, dude, it's Pierre Maguire. Are you really insulted? Like, well, he has a job in hockey. He has a voice in hockey. Like, dude, it's Pierre Maguire.
Yeah. Come on.
It's very funny that he actually can't stop saying it. Like, he just can't. There'll be questions that won't even be about analytics. He's like, I don't know if there's an analytics equation for like where I have to like now punch into my GPS to get to my office. There's not an analytic equation for that. It's just skill, it's memory, it's all brain power, and it's will to get there. And then it's just like, wow, that guy just pulled that out of nowhere. This guy just hates analytics. It's incredible. But at the end of the day, long story short, like, I think it's like a fine hire. Like, I mean, it's a VP of player development, so he's not even in charge. They literally just hired him because he knows a lot about every single league. And like, I listened to an interview with him, and the amount that he does before a draft, and like, it's insane. Like, the dude has watched every junior hockey game like for the last however many years. So it could, I think it's going to be a fine hire. Again, he's not making trades. He doesn't run the franchise. He's not coaching. So who cares? But like, I think it could be a good hire for him, to be honest with you.
For sure. And it's like, he's in a spot where he can offer his opinions on things. And it's like, the higher-ups don't necessarily have to go with it if they don't like it. Like, he can say, well, this is what I think. And they can say, okay, yeah.
Right, exactly. Like, so it's kind of, he's like joining the think tank. You know what I mean? Like,
exactly.
He's going to have a voice and he's got input, but at the same time, like, what's his name doesn't have to be like, yep, that's what we're going to do
this is what we're going with. Yeah, exactly.
Right. Also, it could, you know, who else is really weird in Ottawa is Melnyk. So maybe they'll become best friends, and they're hiring Pierre to be best friend of Eugene Melnyk and distract him from doing literally anything of note, so they can run their franchise without having to worry about like Eugene Melnyk showing up with a $45 replica jersey and talking to Mark Borowiecki about the Ottawa Senators during their rebuild. So maybe they're avoiding that, like posting that video.
I mean,
you know, so maybe there'll be boys on that yacht. They'll be hanging out on the yacht, talking hockey, and they'll be best friends.
Yeah, the distraction factor is real. Speaking of, I don't know, that was a weird segue, but Ken Holland's in the news as well.
Kenny.
For the acquisition of, basically they acquired him because he has every accolade you can think of: Stanley Cup winner, Norris Trophy winner. Duncan Keith is now an Oiler, but it's not the Duncan Keith that we all knew from his Blackhawks days. It's a much older version. And so what did you think of the acquisition, in which I think the most interesting part was there's no salary being retained. The Oilers were perfectly comfortable taking the entire salary on and giving away prospects still. It's kind of baffling to me.
It was I mean, once it was floated out there that like he was going to Western Canada, which is like a very weird way of like he's going somewhere. It's west and it's not in the U.S. and it is in the NHL. I was like, okay, great, thanks. I've been trying to like make it like a little bit less crazy, and then I started. I mean, it makes no sense. Like, it does if you really value the things that the Oilers say they're valuing in this trade, I guess. And I mean, 5.3, that's what he's making now. It's not like some insane number. It's a really bad number for how he plays now and what his role will ultimately be with them. The good side of like the stuff that like I'm not gonna like harp on Kenny Holland for. It's like, yes, they gave up Caleb Jones, which is a young D who had a decent year, who's starting to come up a little bit. It's an asset that you probably could have included in a package for like a different defenseman or like a different player that could help you, but it's not like it's some irreplaceable defenseman on your team that like you're giving up to get Duncan Keith back, and
right.
Then it's it's a conditional pick. Did it come out what round it's in? Because it just said conditional when I looked at it. Because there were four different updates over the course of the day, and after the third one, I was just like, I can't keep up with this trade anymore. This is so insane. I've been like sitting here on my computer perusing Twitter trying to figure out what the actual deal is, that I can't take it anymore.
Yeah,
they were just like,
I
Keith
can't
to Edmonton, and then 2 hours later, Caleb Jones going back. 2 hours later, picks involved, and I was just like, "Oh my god, I can't." Okay, I was just,
like,
I was like, "Freege, I'll call you tomorrow." All right, buddy. Like, I can't handle this right now. I also just don't care.
Yeah, I don't know if I've seen even what the actual pick is, but you know, that's
okay. So like, it depends what round it's in. I mean, realistically, you still gave up assets for Duncan Keith. They did get Soderlund in the trade, who. Early on, I thought he was going to be a decent prospect, like over the last couple of years. Hasn't really worked out for him, but maybe, whatever, fresh start. He's 23 years old. He's a center. Like, played well, like during when he was loaned, like before the NHL season. He went to Sweden. He didn't really have a good AHL year, but like maybe that worked out for Edmonton, I guess. Yeah, it's just a conditional pick in the 2022 draft, which is also really dumb because that draft is way better than this one.
Oh, jeez.
Wow. Okay.
Come on, Kenneth.
I don't think it's going to be as bad as everyone's. Like, Duncan Keith is not Duncan Keith anymore. He's not that guy. Like, he just isn't.
Right.
He's not that guy, pal. I couldn't help myself. I'll be curious to see what he looks like with Edmonton.
Yeah.
I mean, realistically, he can be behind his own net, rim one off the glass. It'll hit McDavid in the chest, and McDavid will go in and score.
Assists for days.
It literally can, like, without even trying to. Like, he might be on the bench during, like, 10 of his assists next season. But like, in Edmonton's defense, yes, they're going to get an experienced player. He's going to take a lot of the leadership burden off of Draisaitl, off McDavid, off those young guys. So it's not only them answering questions. And he's going to be fired up to play. He's going to come in he's going to come in hungry.
Yep.
But man, it was tough when the next day they could have just signed, or well, whatever, the Suter thing happened. Well, I'm sure we'll talk about.
Oh yeah.
But like literally the next day that happened, and it was like, man, you could have just done not a whole lot to get him. You could have just done that instead. But I'll watch it play out before I go off. But like, it's bad. Like there was just so many other options.
Yeah.
Like there's just so many other options.
No.
But again, 5-3 isn't a crazy number. No one on their back end makes a ton of money.
Right.
So, I mean, it's not going to crush them. They still have a little bit of space left to do stuff. But, like, definitely he's not going to be the piece that's going to put him over the top. But I'm sure the guys will love him. And if he hits a bunch of people, fans will love him. But it was very weird trade that happened. And we'll see. It's a bold strategy. We'll see how it plays out for him, Cotton.
Well played with the dodgeball reference. You mentioned Ryan Suter. Let's finish with that. We'll conclude our chat with Spoked Z coming up next here on Locked on Wild. Oh, hey, just got my workout done and was going to chomp down on this delicious Built Bar. Wait, hold on. You don't know about Built Bar? Those amazing tasting and great for you protein bars? Wow, well, I guess I'll try to explain it like this. Built Bar has 9 amazing flavors: coconut, cherry barcia, raspberry, mint brownie, double chocolate, salted caramel, strawberry, orange, cookies and cream, and German chocolate. My favorite by far is raspberry. If you're not sure, though, which one is your favorite, just grab the mixed box and you'll get 2 each of the 9 flavors. Not only are Built Bars amazing tasting, but they're great for you, too. Each bar contains 17 to 18 grams of protein, ranges from 130 to 180 calories, contains only 4 to 5 grams of sugar, and only 4 to 5 grams of net carbs. Plus, get this, Built Bar is the official bar of the U.S. track and field team. So go to Built.com and use the promo code LOCKED15 and you'll get 15% off of your first order. Again, use the promo code LOCKED15 for 15% off at Built.com.
This episode is brought to you by HP Plus. In a world full of smart devices, shouldn't your printer be smart too? It is with HP Plus. These printers know when they're running low, so you always get the ink you need delivered right when you need it. Plus, you save up to 50% on ink, so you can print whatever you want, as much as you want, anytime you want. Huh, that is pretty smart. Get 6 free months of instant ink when you choose HP Plus. Conditions apply. Visit hp.com/smart for details.
Final segment of our chat with Spoked Z of NHL Twitter fame here on Locked on Wild. And, of course, we got to talk about the big buyout news from this week. Ryan Suter and Zach Parise bought out by the Minnesota Wild. One was not a surprise. The other was a complete surprise to pretty much everybody. But at the end of the day, it was more about how it happened. That is the crazy part of this, Spoked. And I wanted to get kind of your reaction to the phone calls that made it happen, and the buyouts in general. The Ryan Suter, Zach Parise era in Minnesota is over.
Yeah, that's news to me. Haven't heard about it. No. It sucks. Like, it just sucks. I mean, it definitely, like, I get it. But it's like, before you find out that they've both been bought out, you're like, yeah, something needs to happen, at least with Parise.
Yeah.
That'll suck, but like it has to happen, so it's fine. And then it happens, both of them. And I didn't even know what to do at first. I was just like, this is
how do I process this?
The worst. But I don't know. It's brutal. That phone call, how it went down with those two is legitimately like insane.
Yeah.
Playing phone tag. Suter's trying to comfort Parise, and he's in the back. He's like, that would be terrible if that would happen. I can't imagine that happening to me because that's awful, and I would be pissed if that happened. Oh my god! Hold on, sorry, I have a missed call from Billy G.
Oh my god!
And then he gets it, and he didn't like. I think the phone call like 30 seconds. I think he pretty much went off on Billy G and then hung up. But what a wild,
pun intended.
What a wild week in Minnesota. I mean, I love Zach Parise. I always will. I don't like that people were just like ripping him all year long. It's like, dude, like the amount of what he's done in Minnesota. Like, I don't like. Yeah, this year's bad, but a lot of that had to do with the fact that it was a weird year, condensed schedule. He is another year older. Like, it's just a different landscape than it is now. The team's totally different. He's not relied on to do literally anything. But like, that doesn't like just cancel out all the good stuff he's done for 8 years now.
Exactly.
Like, why does it have to be all right now that he's not with us? Now he is a terrible human being, terrible hockey player. Hate him. Let's tweet at him and tell him he's terrible and that we hate him and that he sucks and that his family should hate him. And good job, Billy. And I don't get it. Like, that dude has played through so many crazy injuries and then come back after having to take a couple weeks off for like breaking every rib that he has because he's just getting cross-checked in front of the net, still scoring goals. Like, I don't know. I love that guy. Like, I hate that he got so much hate all year long from like fans. Like, I don't think it's fair. Like, it's not like he's not trying.
It just,
he gave way more than he needed to.
Yeah.
You know? Like, it'd be like, well, he's making so much money, so yeah, that's what his job is. And it's like, yeah, dude, and he tried really hard. Like, that dude worked so goddamn hard. He loved being here. Like, I don't think people understand. Like, everyone wants to go home and play for their hometown team, but like,
the pressure's like
took
double
it to a whole other level. You know?
The pressure is like double when you are playing for your hometown squad as opposed to just any team.
Yeah, I can tell you, coming from Boston, it's crazy here. Like, I mean, if you're from Boston and like, it's either it works out and it's fine, or it's like it's ended a few dudes' careers around here, like just being here, and like it's just so difficult. And that guy wanted to be here. He set records in Minnesota, and like he poured it all out every time he touched the ice. Even the games where he was playing this year, like 7-8 minutes, every shift he was like 150% because he just wants to play. He wants to be in Minnesota. He wants to be a member of the Minnesota Wild. So I don't understand, like, just because it didn't work out and like it didn't translate to points, goals, wins, whatever. Like this season only, by the way, literally only this season.
Exactly.
This weird season that's not even real. Like, why are we now being like, yeah, he's a loser. That guy sucks. Hate him. He didn't he should have asked to get traded if he knew he was going to be bad. I saw that one. I was like, well,
what
does that even mean? Like, yeah, I think I'm going to be shit this. Oh, sorry. Damn it. So
that's all right. I got it.
Yeah, I'm going to be bad this year, Billy, so if you could trade me, I'd like to do that for the state of Minnesota and all Wild fans. You know, I would love if you would do that for them, not me. It would be terrible for me, but please trade me. I just don't, I don't know. I've never understood that people just like carving some of these guys for like not being good anymore. or not being the same guy that they used to be. Like, I've never understood people taking that personally.
Yeah.
As if the athletes being like, yeah, you know what? I don't like these Minnesota Wild fans. I'm going to be a terrible hockey player, and I'm going to I'm just going to eat money and not move or whatever. Like, how do you even get there?
Yeah, John.
I'll love Zach Parise forever, dude. Like, that guy, I love that dude.
Yeah, John 5851625887 on Twitter.
Egg picture. You know. I've watched hockey for 50 years, and I've never seen a more selfish athlete in my life.
People are weird, man. People are just weird.
Good for you.
Yeah, that's about all the time we got for this, at least initial appearance for you, Spoked. We'll have to have you on more regularly because the NHL is crazy, and it feels right to have you on to break all that stuff down. Before we let you go, though, anything you got to plug, feel free to do so before we sign off.
Just at Spoked Z. That's it. I would say when I run the social media Bruins and Pride diehards, which I don't really know why anyone that follows or listens to Locked On Wild would need to know that, but that's the other stuff that I do. In case you also like the Bruins, that's the other places you can find me. Other than that, just Spoke Z and anyone listening to podcasts / that has a podcast. I'm trying to set the record for most guest appearances in one summer, so you can find me hopefully on every single podcast in America.
We'll get you there.
Yeah, 2 down.
Spoke, thanks for the time.
Thank you.
Will wrap up today's episode of Locked On Wild. Make sure to follow the show wherever you listen to podcasts. You can also follow us on Facebook and Twitter at Locked On Wild. Have a great rest of your day. Brand new episodes Monday through Friday as part of the Locked On Podcast Network.